It doesn't get better than that, man. Arsenal 4, Spurs 1. Annoyingly 1 as well. Annoyingly. But yeah, let's get into the match reaction. So, oh God, I'm trying to compose myself because I got a lot of Spurs mates. So this is gonna be a nice 4 to 5 days. But yeah, let's get to the game. Yeah, Arsenal 4, Spurs 1. But yeah, let's start. The first 20 minutes was very frustrating. And it was the same frustration I have been saying in this match reaction since I started. And it's the same ones I've had previously this season and last season as well. Our build up is just way too slow. Like these lot, Spurs, yeah, they came to this game to just frustrate Arsenal and play on the counter. And even on the counter, they had nothing in the counter. Like it was just Richarlison, and God knows where Kudus was. Like I was looking at the Spurs team, and I was thinking, who am I worried? And it was Kudus. Kudus is the only guy in that team. I was like, okay, if Kudus is on his day, this could be a techie one. But even he wasn't on. So I was confused why Arsenal didn't, like, I'm not expecting Arsenal to come out from the blocks firing, but I just felt like before that first goal, we were so like lethargic, slow. There's a time where it was a throw in. Timber throws it to Saliba. Instead of Saliba playing that ball across the line to Saka, who was in acres of space, he lets the ball, again, very similar to what Timber does, he lets the ball go across him, and then he goes back to the centre-back, and then instead of keeping that pressure on that left side, which was Spurs' left side, Arsenal's right side, which was the key parts of this game, we instead just reduced the pressure for them, and then just, it's all this like patient build-up, and this patient build-up works in like two-legged games, Champions League semi-finals, or any other cup-tied game where there's two legs. The first leg, you're just trying to ensure that you go into that second leg and you're not out of it. But yeah, that first half, the first like 20-25 minutes, 30, we were very slow on the build-up, and it was so frustrating. But eventually, we started to pick things up. You saw how that first goal came in. Ball across that right side. That right side is where we're getting most of our joy. Ball across the right side, goes inside into Marino. Marino literally has time to take a touch, turn, look, and just play that nice lofted ball in behind. And this is why I prefer Marino up top compared to someone like Gyökeres. And I saw after my reaction, a lot of people disagreeing, especially on the discourse of Marino's performance and him as a striker. But I'm actually on the other side of this. I actually prefer Marino. Look, don't get me wrong, Marino in the middle for me is an eyesore. I don't want to see it. But Marino, when he's allowed to drop in as a false nine and create that overload in midfield, it works perfectly. And that pass here, Gyökeres, I'm sorry, he's not playing that pass. I'm not even sure if he even sees that pass. And even if he does have time to kind of drop in, and to be honest, he wouldn't even drop in. He'd be on the last centre back. So that kind of space that Marino picks up would have been vacated for, I don't know who would have picked that up, or it would have been no one in there to pick that ball up. But he picks that ball up and he lofts it nicely into Trossard. And obviously a bit of luck, a bit of fortune, but he takes a really good touch. And when you're in that closer proximity to goal, it's just about getting contact on that ball. And it's the same with the chance we had earlier with Rice. That one, yeah, to be fair, that one he just connected. He didn't even, I'm not even sure if he even knew where he was trying to aim for that ball to go, but he just said, let me just connect and hit it hard. And sometimes that does go in because he kind of saved it with his legs. So he could have gone through his legs. But yeah, that ball for Marino was perfect, on the money, and that kind of sets us up to to go in. And but to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised with how Spurs turned up. Well, I shouldn't really be surprised. These lot, they have this phobia at the Emirates where they don't really want to come out and do anything. The only time I kind of feared they might was when they had Ange first season. They kind of played us a little bit, but this time around, they've just come there and just said, we're gonna, you break us down. We're not gonna apply much pressure on the ball until you're in the edge of us, of the 6 yard box. And that's when we're gonna apply pressure. And this is how most teams, this is like, if there's any blueprint, this is a blueprint how not to play against Arsenal. Arsenal struggle with teams who impose a very physical game on them. That's why Newcastle is Arsenal's kryptonite, because Newcastle match Arsenal in terms of physicality, and Newcastle tend to bring the game to us. And that's why when we play Newcastle, the game looks a lot more even. What Spurs done there is the complete opposite of how you want to play Arsenal. Just give us the ball and just allow us to. And also the pressure was always going to build, especially at the Emirates. And they had no focal point going the other way. That's why I was frustrated in the first 20 minutes. I was thinking, that ball hasn't reached our box at all. So I'm confused why we are so like patient with how we're trying to play. Like it's almost like it's like a friendly. Like I'm confused. Like if they had a more focal, potent players going the other way, I'd be like, okay, the longer this game goes, that kind of thing, the more I'm worried. But I wasn't worried at all. Like, and that's why I was like, okay, first goal comes in, that's where it opens up. And then a second goal from Eze and a brilliant finish. And Eze, a great performance. Eze has these performances where he just looks like he's on a purple streak, where he's just scoring goals and goals and goals. And for me, there's an interesting debate because I had another match reaction on whilst I was watching the game, and they were saying, does Eze start when Odegaard comes in? And I still say yes. And the reason why I say yes is because my ideal midfield for this Arsenal team, I've always said it, it's Eze, Odegaard, and either Rice or Zubimendi. You don't play both. Because for me, Odegaard is a 8. He's not a 10, he's an 8. He's a deep line playmaker who can pick up the ball and drive it and drive us forward. Very similar to how Skelly does against Atletico Madrid when he picked up the ball in that half space and took the ball under pressure and just turned and then drove forward. That's Odegaard. That's Odegaard's best attribute, being able to pick that ball up and just push it forward. Odegaard struggles a lot more when he's within that 6 yard box where he has to finish. He doesn't have that instinct to just hit the ball with conviction, and that's where Eze comes in. So if Odegaard comes back, I'd like to see that midfield. Whether he plays it is another question. Massive shout out to Trossard. I thought he was brilliant. He took that goal well, and also in much of our build up as well, he looks very, very composed, and he looks like he's playing with a lot of confidence, and which is what we want from Trossard, and also what we want from Saka. Saka played really well in the first half, came into life a bit in the second half, but for that most part, you know, the lineup was good. I was quite surprised Nketiah was there. I would have thought he would have gone with Mascara on the left side, but I guess for the balance, Nketiah can come in. And Nketiah was decent. He didn't really have much to do, but he handled Richarlison really well. I think actually, yeah, he was on Richarlison. I think his task was to be on Richarlison and Saliba to kind of just pick up that loose ball if he somehow misses the first man. But he was really good. He defends the wide areas quite aggressively. That's one thing I've noticed. He's very aggressive in terms of he will stick to a man and he would follow that ball, and at times it might leave some space in behind, and Spurs were not good enough to kind of pick that up. But those times I was thinking, okay, when that ball leaves the box and you've defended that box, there's no need to follow it up through. Just leave it off and then kind of just keep your shape. But he had a decent cameo today. Very well on that. Very well taken goals by Eze as well. That last one, no, the one with his left foot, that was really good. Just first touch out of his feet and then place it. Brilliant finish. Now, gonna have to talk about that goal. Look, for me, I'm not sure if any Arsenal fan will agree with me on this, but for me, that is 100% on Raya. And let me tell you why, before anyone comes in. If you're a player and if you cannot afford to lose the ball in the most low to mid risk areas, then what are we doing here? Like, has football gone that woke that Zubamendi cannot lose the ball in that kind of half space? It's not even it's literally, if I remember, it's in the dead center where even the kickoff, where they take the kickoff. Like, don't get me wrong here, albeit Zubamendi should have checked his shoulders, and second of all, he should have released that ball a lot sooner, and he was looking for that perfect angle to release the ball. Cool, fair enough. But Raya, how do you get lobbed from that far out is my thing. And obviously I know it's instructions from the manager and stuff like this, but sometimes you just have to take your own initiative as well. Because that was just so far out. And look how far back he had to travel to even try and save it. So it was a well-taken goal from Richarlison. Zubamendi should have released the ball sooner, fair. But losing the ball in that area should not result in such a dire consequence where you've literally conceded from losing the ball in a very low risk area of the pitch. That should not have resulted in a goal. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit and say, look, Zubamendi, I'm going to be honest, he takes a little too long on the ball. Cool, fair enough. But losing the ball from that area of the pitch and just conceding like that, yeah, you got to look at why the keeper was far up, because Richarlison saw the keeper, like he saw the keeper. So and this isn't the first time we've been dunked on from that far out. I think it's happened even last season towards the end. I remember, I can't remember what game it was, but there's a game where he got dunked on like that, and it happens a fair few times. So maybe in that Chelsea game, definitely drop a couple yards back because you're too far out. And any player with decent technical ability will be able to just pick you out from that distance, because it's so far out that you can put a lot of power into that shot and it'll generate a lot of lift for it to go in. But apart from that, great victory, 7 points ahead of City, massive statement, especially with City losing to Newcastle. That gives us a very healthy distance away from them. We got Chelsea next week. I'll be honest, you got to win that as well, man. You got to win that. You got to take Chelsea out of this. Even though I'm not really too scared of Chelsea in a sense because I just don't really see them posing much of a threat. They were like this last season as well. They were like 5 or 4 points behind us, and then it somehow drifted to like 10 or 8. So yeah, I'm not fussed about Chelsea, but next week is a big game. Go out there and do your thing. And but yeah, great performance. Man of the match, Eze. Shout out to Trossard. He had a good game. There was one bit when we're using Rice I just remember this now. When we're using Rice as that trigger press, very similar to how we do with Odegaard, because Vicario's taken quite a while to release that ball from the goal kick. And there was a time in the second half where he pressed him, and Spurs managed to outplay our initial press, and there was such acres of space in that position where Rice would initially pick up. And I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm not sure about this one. Like we didn't need to press that high up for that long. We could have just backed off a little bit. This 3-1 just calm off. But also another thing is subs. I'm not sure. 70, 80 minutes, I'm thinking, it's looking like Sunderland-ish. We got obviously a bit of a breathing room here this time. But definitely looking at that, Martinelli should have come on a bit sooner. Or did he even come on? I don't think he did. Martinelli should have come on, especially when Spurs were trying to chase a goal as well. But yeah, great performance. We move on to Chelsea. Got Bayern Munich in the week, so that should also be a good game. We'll see how we come from that. But yeah, it's been a nice little international break. Got my Arsenal kit on for the derby. But yeah, Arsenal 4, Spurs 1, and that's a proper performance. 4 open play goals as well. What universe am I living in seeing that? But yeah, good performance. And on to Bayern Munich on Wednesday.